This video is about my opinion on what's wrong with metal today and what's right with metal today. I will cover the various subgenres and I'm going to try to keep it under 10 minutes. Let's get right to it. Nu metal, which is really hard rock. We remember bands like Linkin Park, Korn. They left the mainstream about early 2000s and were replaced by metalcore. The difference being that metalcore musicians are actually quite talented. However, as I've said before, musicianship does not equal good songwriting. Songwriting beats musicianship every time. So metalcore has dominated the mainstream of American metal for a good 10 years now, and I would say it's overstayed its welcome. And yes, it has transformed into deathcore. Hardcore has always been around. It's time for this genre to die, and now we have this new wave of pop metal that I've been noticing, like the girls from Japan, baby metal, and a lot of elitists are against it. And death metal fans are going to hate me for this, but I don't like death metal anyway. At least this sounds like music. You know, baby metal sounds like music. I can't always say the same about metalcore. There's a few decent metalcore bands, decent at best. Best of which being Killswitch Engage, and they even suck. So, I think the country that's really doing it right now is Norway. And I'm not saying that because I'm Norwegian or I'm a Norway fanboy, but really, we have bands like Arcturus, Borknagar, Vulture Industries. These guys are taking the genre, and I hesitate to even call it avant-garde anymore or even progressive metal because it barely constitutes as metal at all. Sure, there can be the occasional blast beat, tremolo picking, but I believe they've transcended almost out of metal entirely, which is what we need. We have a lot of these old thrash guys, and thrash is great. You know, I love old Nevermore, Testament, fuck Metallica, fuck Megadeth, fuck a lot of them, but, and, how many thrash riffs are we going to hear? This has been going on for 20 years now. It's time to innovate. And when I say innovate in a progressive sense, I don't mean Dream Theater. I don't mean wanky guitar solos, a lot of time signatures. More in the way that I want to take Borknagar for an example, and they're my favorite band, bear with me. They incorporate synths, Hammond organs, flutes, all kinds of effects from Lars, the keyboard player, Lars Schnedlin. And the songwriting itself, because sometimes it doesn't sound like metal, it sounds like rock, it sounds like something new entirely. Norway's getting it right, for sure. Sweden, that mellow death was never really my thing. But the problem is we have not moved on from these core bands yet. And whether this new wave of pop metal is what dominates the mainstream next or not, because songwriting beats musicianship every time, 10 years from now, and I assume metalcore will die very soon, 10 years from now, we will not look back at metalcore as fondly as we look back at nu metal, which is really rock. Bands like Linkin Park and Korn, and obviously they're garbage, but they're songwriters and not musicians. And that's why they're more pleasing to the ear. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy musicianship bands. I love Nevermore. Jeff Loomis is pretty much one of the best guitarists ever. But metalcore focuses a lot on the musicianship aspect. And it's not like they even really sing. I'm not going to say they whine. They don't sing in a metal sense. We'll put it that way. soaring opera vocals or, you know, deep doom metal vocals. You know, they don't growl like a death metal band, and they don't do grim vocals like a black metal band. They just kind of scream. I think that sounds terrible. You know, power metal, I just hope dies completely. We just had that new Sanctuary release, the best power metal band ever after 20 years, and it sounded like generic thrash. So pop metal needs to go. Folk metal, a good friend of mine, Lars Jensen, he may or may not finish Myrkrav, which is Dark Grave, which he later admitted was a lame name. But Falkenbach had a very good release last year called Asa. Elvedi, you know, they fell off. God, what other folk metal bands have I liked? Here's a lot of them. Tyr, their new stuff not so good. Having said that, I feel like folk metal can still be saved. There have been a few new bands I've been enjoying. And another note I wanted to touch on, you take a band like Hatebreed, they're not metal, point blank period. It is not about how low your guitars are tuned down or any of that. It's about the way the songs are written. And there is a certain amount of musicianship that needs to be there. Not always. Look at Falkenbach. With folk metal, not so much. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I just really feel like it's time for a change. I feel like change is coming. Deathcore took over metalcore, and now it's time for that to die. I don't really know what's coming next. I hope it's pop metal because I actually really like it. Folk metal already had their window starting in like 2007 or 8, lasted a few years. I feel like, I don't know, Primordial, if you could even call them folk metal, could save it. We still have Agalloch from the States. They're doing a great job. Yeah, the genre is in a state of disarray. And another thing I really don't like is this new wave of traditional heavy metal bands. God, those guys suck. Like the Swords, I call it hipster metal. You know. And the metal scene is still very much fine in Scandinavia. But in America, it has just gone way downhill. And I really think it's time that America, and Norway has already proven this with the likes of ICS Vortex, Garm, Vintersorg, who's from Sweden, all kinds of Norwegian singers who have great clean vocals. And I have nothing against harsh vocals. You know, I love them in Opeth, I love them in a lot of black metal bands. But I think America really needs to break this stereotype that metal is all screaming, because it isn't. And if we could get pop metal as the next big mainstream metal genre in America, then people might start to respect the genre more. And if you don't like mainstream metal, I know I don't, then at least it keeps the mindless masses away from our metal so we can enjoy it in peace. Thanks for watching, guys. This was kind of disorganized. I didn't have anything written down, but my 2 cents on the metal scene today and what needs to change. Cheers.